In the last part, the 9 years after Schrödinger's wave equation was proposed was discussed, ending, for time reasons, with a mention of his 1935 proposal of his famous cat paradox. This paradox was proposed in Schrödinger's 1935 paper The Present Situation in Quantum Mechanics. A translation by John D. Trimmer is available online and is used here. He devotes a single paragraph in a substantial, circa 20 pages A4 size, paper to the paradox. Here it is. One can even set up quite ridiculous cases. A cat is penned up in a sealed chamber, along with the following device, which must be secured against direct interference by the cat. In a Geiger counter there is a tiny bit of radioactive substance, so small that perhaps in the course of the hour one of the atoms decays, but also, with equal probability, perhaps none. If it happens, the counter tube discharges, and through a relay releases a hammer which shatters a small flask of hydrocyanic acid. If one has left this entire system to itself for an hour, one would say that the cat still lives if meanwhile no atom has decayed. The psi function of the entire system would express this by having in it the living and dead cat, pardon the expression, mixed or smeared out in equal parts. The cases that Schrödinger refers to appears to be where the quantum indeterminacy, that is usually confined to the microscopic world, in this case atoms, can be transferred into macroscopic indeterminacy. The cat is in two states. It is dead and alive until observation is made, i.e. the box is opened. Then it, according to the Copenhagen interpretation, collapses into a particular state. Such language is not used here as Schrödinger produced the paradox to highlight an issue with the Copenhagen interpretation itself. Clearly, the reasoning goes, the cat cannot be dead and alive, as is posited by this interpretation, something dubbed blurred reality in this paper. Bohr, one of the founders of this interpretation, found no qualm with this thought experiment. The cat will be dead or alive before conscious observation, i.e. opening the box, because the use of a Geiger counter meant that the wave function would collapse as soon as the atom decayed. Although Schrödinger never seriously considered the cat to be both dead and alive until the box was open, as shown by calling the case ridiculous, it has become a representation of a principle called quantum superposition, where a system can be in all possible states simultaneously until it is measured. In 1936, the University of Edinburgh offered him the position as their chair of physics, which he would have accepted were it for a lengthy delay in obtaining a work permit from the Home Office of the UK. During this period of bureaucracy, he received an offer from the University of Graz in his native Austria as a lecturer in theoretical physics, which he accepted. He would remain here until Nazism caught up with him in 1938 with the Annales, the annexation and occupation of Austria. Despite writing a letter to the University Senate on the advice of the new Nazi rector, saying that he had misjudged the true will of the Third Reich, he was, no doubt due to his prior fleeing from Berlin and liberal political stance, dismissed from his post in late August of 1938 on the basis of political unreliability. The letter had failed, and he would regret writing it. Writing to Einstein about a year later, he explained that, "I wanted to remain free, and could not do so without great duplicity." He was told he could not leave the country, but he quickly fled with Annie across the border to Italy, disguised as tourists. Here he wrote to Eamon de Valera, a very prominent Irish politician, and, at the time, the President of the Assembly of the League of Nations. De Valera was attempting to set up the Institute for Advanced Studies in Dublin, and eager to have a scientist of Schrödinger's stature on board, offered him a future job there. While the institute was being set up, Schrödinger accepted a one-year professorship at the University of Ghent. In the autumn of 1939 he moved to Dublin, where he would spend the next 16 years, which will be discussed in the next and final part of this series. Thanks for watching.